All right, what's going on, guys? So I'm back. So I took some time to work on the iPhone, which I did was the back glass on the iPhone. This one, I removed the back glass from it. Uh, you can see that the back glass is off. I still have some cleaning up to do and some other stuff. We're not worried about that. I usually don't do these. I just wanted to try that one. I got that one done. So let me get you guys over my desk here. Over my desk. So here's what I found. I found the short. The short is here. Okay. And it's on the other side. The reason why I found it was I was like, wow, why didn't I just test the fuse? And I did end up testing the fuse right here. It's F 7502 and it's blown. Okay, so what I decided was, okay, all right, well, let me see what is on this line. So once I went down the line, I found that it went to the other side of the board. So on the other side of the board, that's how I tracked it down to this chip right here. Okay, I'm not sure if my microscope for my not sure if it's plugged up. Okay. It looks like it's plugged up. So let's go microscope. Turn on the microscope. And it does not see. So okay. And we got it. So let me show you guys this now. Okay, so underneath the microscope, so it goes to this chip right here. And I thought about maybe I should start with removing maybe the caps first before I remove the chip. But there's so many caps on this line that I was like, I'm not going to. And I wanted to also run some voltage through it, and I was like, I'm not going to do that either. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a picture of this chip and the orientation of it, even though we have the arrow right there pointing to the orientation. I'm just going to take a picture of it for now. Okay, and I think I got the picture. Yep, I got a picture of it. So then all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to lift that chip off the board. And once I lift it off, I'm going to check to see if the short is gone. If the short is gone, then I know that that was the issue, was this chip. If the short is still there, then I can just easy peasy put the chip back and then track the short down. But for now, I want to check to see if this is my issue. And like I said, you could remove the chips one by one if you want to, or the capacitors one by one if you want to. That's one way to do it. I'm going straight for the chip and say the chip went out. Okay, and now let's just check. So the short is still there. So the chip is fine. Okay, it might be bad still because of the short. It might have sent some voltage where it doesn't need to be, but for now the chip is good, so we're going to put the chip off to the side. I'm going to test one more time because the heat on the board sometimes can give you bad reading. Let's move this cap over right here. See, now I would be able to run voltage through it and not worry about that chip. If the chip is fine, there'd be no problem. Short is still there. Cap is fine. So it's still there. Okay, so let's put this cap back and we'll go to the other side of the board and we'll see what's over there also. Okay, so now on this side of the board, we have a few components. And it's 3 caps. Okay, so let's start off with the first one. Hold on. Matter of fact, okay, so let's start off with this one right here. And then we'll kind of go down the line and see if any of these caps is the problem. Still shorted. I'm just going to keep removing these until I find wherever the short is. Okay, we have one more cap on this line, I think. Maybe this line goes somewhere else. I'm not sure. Very possible that this line does go somewhere else also. Let's find out. Okay, so there's no more short here. That's bad. So that cap is bad. So we'll just remove that from the board, and then we'll just kind of float these other ones back into place. But let's just double check. Okay, so that was the bad cap right there that we just pulled off. So let's set all these other ones back in place. We have to also change the filter. We don't have to. We could put a wire across it, but it's better just to change it. While we got everything going, just change it. Okay, so let's find a filter. We have plenty of donor boards here that we can get a filter from. It doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to be another. It doesn't have to be a PS5 board. It could be a PS4 board, and they have fuses on them also. I'm just looking for one that's not water damaged to grab that component from. It could also be an Xbox board. You know, whatever you find that has a fuse on it, just go ahead and grab it. It's not that threatening. I know people's gonna tell you should find, you know, the component that comes from the exact place and the exact board. And I watched this, you know, older guy, Soren, and he's the one that really, it's like electronic schools, I think it's called, and he kind of makes things a lot simpler for you if you're a beginner trying to learn. And not only does he dumb it down, but he makes it more comfortable for you to try to learn to repair and get over the fear of these repairs. Where it's like some of these channels you watch and these guys are telling you, like, you know, you got to make sure that this, and then you kind of get scared because you're like, well, I don't want to do this and do that, and then, you know, this happens and that happens. You know, this guy kind of makes it a little bit more relaxing on the nerve. I think I just lost that component too. I'll look for that in a second. Let me put some solder down here. And then we'll try to find that component. I started using this syringe with solder in it. I watch a few channels with the guys using this, and it seems like the way to go. So I started to use it. Just like that. And let's see if we glue the component to the next. Yep, it's in probably the next planet over. I don't see it here. It's gone. Alright, so let's get another fuse. So where I took this one from, there was another one there. It was like 2 fuses, I think. Just gonna grab this one that says T on it. This is also a fuse, connecting from this side to this side. Here you go. It's back in place. Okay, let's pull a cap also and just drop a cap back in there. Just for the internet. Not that I really care. I don't have, a lot of followers, so anybody that says something probably trolling, so not worried about it. But we'll just grab one while we can and just go ahead and replace the one that we removed. Let's go with this one. I don't even know the size of these caps, nor do I care. If it works, it works. Yes, that works. There we go. That cap has been replaced with a really good cap, and we shouldn't have to worry about it. Now let's go ahead and we'll test over here also since we're here, just so you guys can see that the short has been removed. As you can see, no beeping on this side, so we're good. Let's get back some of this solder that we were using earlier, and let's put some on the board right over here. I don't need any more than that, and I don't want to put any more than that because it's solder paste. You can go crazy with this thing and get this thing all over the place, and then you find yourself in a world of trouble. I think for the longest I stayed away from the solder paste because of that, because I found myself in the trouble with it. But now that I have a better understanding of soldering, I don't find it that threatening anymore. But if you haven't used solder paste before, you might want to just take it easy, because this thing can be scary if you've never used it before. You get it all over the place, kind of like, what do you do? That was my, kind of interaction with it before. So got a little shard of glass. Yep. Okay, so let's get our component, put it where it goes, and we got to keep it between these 4 dots right here that you guys see. Right there. And we'll slowly come in here with this. At least try. Okay. And now we'll press down. Just like that. Okay, that looks great to me. Like I said, I'm no perfectionist and I am no professional. I am an amateur at this. I just try my best to get this done. And that's it. All right, so now that we have this thing where it needs to be. Oh, did it not get on? What's going on, OBS? Okay. I was like way behind time. Okay. All right. Well, let's clean up because I think it's cooled down a little bit enough that we can clean it up and possibly test it. So let's move forward with that. Yep. All right. So it is cooled down enough that we can clean up and kind of test it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more heat to the board. Soften up the flux with that. And then we will clean up with a Q-tip. Brush away with a brush. Then I'm going to use my flux off. Make sure I get all the flux off the board, especially in this area. And some more alcohol. Now this chip might be bad, right? Because this board did, for whatever reason, get shorted. I don't know why the cap shorted, so this chip might be bad. We will test so we will test the board just to make sure if there's any short we can. If the chip isn't good, then we'll know once we test everything. And the chip actually looks like it's not seated properly. It looks like it's over to one side more than the other. It's alright. It'll work. If the console's working, that will work. If it's not working, then we'll know immediately that the chip is probably bad from the short and we just got to replace that chip. I thought I was going to have to order the actual HDMI encoder, but I don't have to, so that's a plus. That's a win. We're probably gonna, we should just replace the USB-C port because that I wouldn't be surprised if that chip does have something to do with the USB-C port. And what happened was the customer plugged something into it, or it's been shorted out like that for a while, and they just kept going and going and going, and something changed and caused it to short. I would not be surprised. So. Okay. I do believe I have the USB port, so that's good. And let's switch cameras to a desk camera. No, we'll do the selfie because that way when we hit the power button, if it's lighting up, you guys can see the light. So let's go and try. And we have light. We can see the light right there. So that's good. That's good. We're not going to go any further. We're going to take this back apart. And then what we're going to do is we're going to replace the USB port. And then once we've replaced the USB port, it will go from there. Yeah, the customer had taken the console apart themselves. So some of the screws, like I explained earlier, is missing or was missing or whatever. All right, so what's next is the port. Let's replace the USB port. Here it is. We have one single port. I bought this port so long ago and I have never used it, and it's time now. Okay, we have one hole here that's it still has solder in it. This one is not too bad. Okay. And let's just put some flux down all along here. I'm gonna have glass on my desk for the next like gazillion years. It's gonna be everywhere. Alright, so now let's solder these pins in. We don't need this board anymore. We'll put it in our pile. That's called our heavily used pile because everything in there, I end up needing them at some point or another. So it's all good. So now we're just gonna go over all of these connectors. Not these What am I talking about? We're just gonna solder this port in place. And what I'm doing is I'm taking my syringe with my flux syringe, and I'm just gonna do one more, and then we'll be able to remove the syringe and actually use the flux out of it because we really need to use flux here. And just like that, flux it up. I'm just pushing the pin just to make sure that the flux kind of flows between it. Get down in there and hold, and it has something to hold on to. So here. Okay, that's great. All right, like I said, a little bit of heat. Soften back up the flux. Some alcohol. And my Q-tip just to make sure that I get up anything that the toothbrush might have missed because it's just kind of scrubbing over them. I can scrub a little bit more vigorously with with that. All right, so let's continue. Flux off. Once I use flux off, then I go ahead and get a cloth, some alcohol, and wipe. Round. And we'll do this little spot the same where we did all the soldering earlier. And on the back side, we'll do the same again. Also, I should say. And we're gonna add a little bit of liquid metal. Just a little bit. Oh. And we're gonna get our Q-tip and we're gonna spread the liquid metal out a little bit better. And that's good. We can do same thing to the metal shielding. Or the heat sink, I should say. Heat sink, sorry. And I'm just cleaning off the heat sink. That's all I'm doing. I know it's not on camera, but just telling you that that's all I'm doing. Nothing special. And then we're gonna just spread back the liquid metal out. Okay, and we got it all spread out, and then we'll just go ahead and put the board back in and put this thing back together, and I think that's it for this. And I'll put on the heat sink and I'll turn it on, and but you guys can tell that it's a working console now. It was just beeping before, so did something right. All right. Okay, and it's all back together, and let's go ahead and let's power it up. You guys won't be able to see this part because I still have not installed the capture card. All right, guys. All right, guys. So thank you guys for watching. That's it for this video. So the problem that I found was the filter on 7502 was blown. That led me to the track that it was all connected to that chip, which I believe control maybe the RAM or something like that. I'm not sure what it was that it controls. And that's how I found this problem. And just removing I didn't remove the filter till afterwards, but I end up, replacing the filter, replacing the cap that was blown, and that solved the problem. It wasn't the actual chip that was short. I did try the chip first by removing it, but I end up finding out that it's not the chip. So thank you guys for watching. See you in the next video. Peace. Hello, 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 hello there, hello there.